parenting in today's world. Our objective for the parenting presentation this evening is to say what is parenting and why is parenting important, and the different parenting styles that are used in today's society, and the best parenting approach, to outline the best parenting approach and the effect of the different parenting styles on children, as well as highlight some of the challenges that parents experience in this dynamic world, this modern society. So parenting is, as I stated, it's quite a challenging and mammoth task. Parenting actively encourages and provides for the physical, emotional, social, spiritual, and intellectual development of a child from infancy to adulthood. And it also facilitates the upbringing of the child to the various stages. Yes, it is key to know that the child's spiritual development is very important to a child's upbringing. When it comes to parenting and being a good parent, children do not come with, no manuals. Some persons, they sign up for parenting. Yes, they plan and they get their little ones. And some, it's not planned. It is something that, although they did not sign up for, it happens. And once you become a parent, really, there's no manual. You learn from experiences around you, and also, from your own intellect and so on, guide you as to what to do. Children, they come with diverse personality, and the type of parent you decide to be can be based on the type of personality that child possess. But there are certain structured approach that is taken to parenting, and theorists states that there are 4 parenting types. Yes, you have the permissive, the authoritative, the neglectful or uninvolved, and the authoritarian parenting style. And this is according to work done by Diana Born-Reed. Okay, the first parenting approach, which is the permissive parenting style. Some of the common traits of these parents are they are high in responsiveness and low in demandingness. They communicate openly and usually let their children decide for themselves rather than giving instructions. Rules and expectations are either not set or rarely enforced. Typically, it goes through great lengths to keep their children happy. So, these parents, they are more like friends, they don't want to do anything to cause their children not to like them, to be upset. So whatever the child wants, the child gets. There's no structure in this parenting approach. The impact of the permissive parenting approach. The positive impact first. They have great communication and coping skills. The negative is that they are domineering and self-centered. They are very insecure. They tend to become spontaneous and experimental. They lack self-control. The authoritative parenting style. It's high in responsiveness and high in demandingness. It sets clear rules and expectations for their kids while practicing flexibility and understanding. The communication is effective. They listen and take into consideration their children's thoughts and their feelings. It allows for natural occurrences to occur, but uses those opportunities to help their kids reflect and learn. This parenting style is said to be one of the better parenting approach. Authoritative parents, they are nurturing, supportive, and they are in tune with their children's needs. They guide their children with honesty and openness, and they discuss their different values, and they reason with their children to find out, where they are. Kids who have authoritative parents tend to be self-disciplined and can think for themselves. So these children are more self-assured, and they are able to navigate different challenges in life much better. And these children are usually higher achievers. So when it comes to academia, self-esteem is usually higher. So yes, you have some positive impact on the children from this parenting approach. They are well behaved. It focuses on creating a safe environment for your children. It helps the children to achieve set goals. So these children are goal oriented, and they have a sense of responsibility. Helps the children, they are taught how to make amends for their mistake. They have less violent tendency, high self-esteem. So these children are more well-adjusted than the other children whose parents approach, like the permissive approach, where anything goes, there's no structure. They usually have better outcomes than them. Some of the negative impact on the child is that it encourages rebelliousness. And these children, they have some of them have psychological issues. They are isolated, yes. And we know from parenting, the parenting approach that we apply, it is transgenerational. It moves from one generation to the next. So it's important that as parents, we are mindful of the strategies that we employ in offering guidance and nurture to our children. The other parenting approach is the neglectful parent, yes. Low responsiveness, low demandingness. The children, they mostly fend for themselves. But these children are basically on their own. Yes, there is no attention given to them. It's like they are just sharing a space with the parent. They offer little nurturance, guidance, and attention. Often struggle with their own self-esteem issues. They have psychological issues, and have a hard time forming close relationships. The positive impact of neglectful already enhances the thinking skills and independence. So these children are left to fend for themselves. There's no attention or care given. So some of them, they become self-reliant, but that is not always so for everyone, So it depends on the circumstances and the situation. Negative impacts of uninvolved. The children, they lack the necessary social skills. So they have interpersonal problems. Their moral and behavioral and cognitive development is not as it should be. And they also have other psychological or social issues, such as social anxiety. Common traits of authoritarian parents. They are very demanding and low in responding to their children's need. They enforce strict rules with little consideration for their children's feeling or social or emotional needs. Is what I say go. I am the boss around here. You should be, most times these parents, their mantra, you should be seen and not heard. Often said, because I say so, when their children question the reasons behind a rule or consequence. So the children don't have any say in anything that relates to them. Communication is one-sided. Yes, so it's like a dictatorship. Yes. And usually what you find with these parents are usually abusive. Children are children are highly disciplined. That is one positive. So because they grow in this rigid, regimented household, um, they are usually highly disciplined, but some of them will cultivate being respectful mannerism. The negative, they are over reliance on rule. They are not flexible, and they are insecure. They suffer from low self-esteem. They are prone to psychological problems, such as depression, and they have attachment issues, and they are disorganized. Yeah, so this parenting approach is a no-no. The parenting style is widely studied. Yes, and researchers say that the best parenting approach is the authoritative. Yes, and they are more likely to raise children who, as I stated before, are well adjusted. They are independent, self-reliant, and competent children. This approach is characterized by love, nurture, and structure. Yes, so it's structure in a loving environment where the child is included in the parenting process, although the parent is still in control, but the measure of love and care that is offered is not seen in the authority parenting structure, where I am the boss, you are the child, you do whatever I say. In the authoritarian parenting environment, a lot of verbal and physical abuse takes place because the parent uses an approach of enforcement. So their approach to disciplining is usually verbal abuse, physical and emotional abuse.
And also they tend to become people pleasers, and they tend to move on to toxic relationship or abusive relationships because it is what they were brought up on.
Yes, so the cycle continues. So as parent, it's important that we are aware of the parenting style that we are engaging in, because it has implications for the child's present and future outcome. This is not on the slide, but I am saying, since I'm presenting to a church family, it's important that we incorporate the importance of spirituality and parenting. The Bible is our compass, and the Bible dictates to us how we are to operate or how we are to live in different circumstances, different situation or setting. The Bible has everything, whether it's financial, social, all the alleys, the Bible caters to. And parenting is one of those that is mentioned, in the Bible. And we are aware in Proverbs that it states that children should be train up a child in the way he should go. Proverbs 22, verse 6. Even when he is old, he will not depart from this. Some persons might say, I'm training my child, and my child has backslidden, or my child is not doing what I am saying. But many times, if we do our own observation, these children that are trained a particular way in terms of spirituality, even if they stray in terms of making a commitment to God, their morals and values are different from those persons who were not given a spiritual upbringing. And also, many of them who, if they stray, some of them, return to what seed was planted. So as parents, sometimes the outcome is not what we want it to be, but it's important that the seed is still planted, because we want to heal a certain outcome or result. So as parents, we have to be consistent despite sometimes the outcome that we are receiving. So some parents might say, I am not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that because the child is not responding as I want a child to. But parents do have a responsibility to man, to God, to provide certain things for their children, not just the tangible things, but also spiritual things. I know through spirituality they are guided, about their value system, and as well as their morals. They are able to, form a good foundation where that is concerned. All right. And as parents also, in today's world where children, they are searching for love and assurance, it is important that parents do not provide an environment that is toxic and overbearing. So the Bible encourages us in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4, fathers, do not provoke your children to anger. And when it says fathers, it's also referring to the mothers, yes? So, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. So parents are encouraged not to cause their children to stray by the kind of interaction that they have with them. Yeah, so you don't want for your children to be so provoked that their response is of such which might have negative implication for you as well as them, and as well as other persons in their environment. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 5 to 9. It was read earlier, and it spoke to parents teaching their children, diligently about spiritual things. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. So parents, it's a constant reminder of the things of God, of the godly principles, constant. So that means that you don't do it this week and then next week is a different thing. There must be consistency as it relates to exposure to spiritual thing. And as a parent, we can do this through our daily devotions with them. Yes, can do this by having family time and talking about spiritual things, what the Bible says about when they do things that are inappropriate. You can guide them to the scripture as to what the scripture says about this and how they could have done it differently, and so on. So it's important that we teach them, the ways of the Lord. And the Bible, God is mindful that as human beings, we learn by constant reminders. So God is saying, just don't say it today and don't say it tomorrow. Have things in your house that remind them that this is the healthy and wholesome lifestyle that you want for them to be engaged in. Yes. So as parents, we have a lot of responsibilities. And parenting is an active thing. It should not be passive. But what we find is happening in today's society, a lot of passive parenting is taking place because persons can't be bothered. And my colleague will, continue with some of the challenges faced by parents and give some suggestion as to how they can manage these challenges.
So yes, as Mrs. Pessoa mentioned, parenting is an active work, and it can get challenging. And some of the challenges faced by parents in today's world is balancing work and family life. That is one of the biggest challenge faced. And this is often involved by juggling multiple responsibilities at once, such as taking care of children, meeting deadlines at work, and keeping up with the household duties like cooking, cleaning, and grocery shopping. And depending on the age group of your child or the amount of children you have, then the amount of care you have to give to that child and the amount of work you have to do at home and whatever. And many parents value both family life and their career, but it can be difficult to achieve a healthy work-life balance and find time for your own needs. So to overcome this challenge, it is important to set priorities. It is important to delegate tasks whenever possible and carve out time for yourself. So to become a positive parent, to have positive parenting practice, you have to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, you don't love yourself, you don't know how to treat yourself right, then you are not able to treat anyone else right or to love anyone else. So it is important to ensure that you take that time out to take care of yourself. If it is even just sitting in a corner in your house and singing or praying or whatever, or journaling, or just taking the time out to just, sit down outside and take a breather, inhale, exhale, look at the beauty of what the outside has to offer, nature. It is important. Go out for dinner, have a 1 hour with a friend. That is important as well. Dealing with stress. Finally, it is important also to communicate openly with your partner and family members about your responsibility so that all the work at the home can be shared together. So you have a partner, your husband, say both of you work a full 8 hour, 9 hour shift. You come home, you alone as a mother doing the work, or you alone as a father doing the work, or the children not helping. This is where the different type of parenting comes in. Both partners have to be in agreement with the type of parenting style that you're going to take about place. We're going to say, mommy can say, okay, John, you're going to do the dishes today. And daddy is like, no, you don't have to do the dishes. No, it is important that we have a schedule to work with and say, all right, we're not going to confuse the child. We're not going to be a permissive parent and an authoritative parent, or, mix them. One parent being, some people like to use the good cop, bad cop parenting style, but it doesn't always work. So it is important to sit down with your husband or your partner and agree upon what parenting practice you're going to put or instill on your child for it to be less stressful on one parent. Along with balancing work and family life, another major difficulty for mother and parents is dealing with stress. Whether it's work-related stress or simple feeling overwhelmed with everyday responsibilities, many parents struggle to manage their emotions and stay calm. For example, we went through a pandemic. Many parents had a lot more stress to handle. They were worried about their children and family members and friends who were infected. And even some parents went to the risk of losing their jobs. And we went through a period of isolation and being locked away from socializing. We weren't going to church as how we wanted to. We weren't going out for work as how we wanted to. And so this has caused on some persons depression. And even though we are now outside, that depression or that stressful phase has lingered. And we need to know, find a way how to identify the stressors and find a way to deal with this stress, to come out of that phase and be able to be good parents and have a healthy life, to be good parents to our children. So to deal with stress effectively, it is important to take care of yourself by eating well, getting enough sleep, and practicing relaxation techniques like meditation. Find something that helps you to relax. If you are short on time, you may want to hop for a non-negotiable hot bath or a 3-minute shower with music, however you choose. Another key strategy is to find ways to manage your time effectively, such as using a task management app. Or most phones today, most of us have smartphones. We can go ahead and set out our reminders and make important tasks. Don't be afraid to reach out for help as well, parents. Everyone gets stressed at some point in time, and it is important that we talk about our stress. Talk to someone that you trust, and sometimes you just need to, sometimes we're stressed, and all we need to do is talk about it once and it is gone. We're over it. So talk about it. Thirdly, on the list of challenges is growing children in a digital age. The growing popularity of digital devices and social media has also created new challenges for parents. For example, many parents struggle to set healthy limits around screen time for their children, and also children become more digitally savvy. Many parents feel like they are always playing catch up with their children when it comes to technology. Some of us, we don't know how to use the internet or to navigate the phone as how we would. And there are so many things out there on the internet that we are not so able to control what they see. And this impacts our children as they see things, they see lifestyles, they see things that happen outside that you are not able to provide. They see persons who are shaped a certain way, have a certain feature, and they persons out there, they are going around, they're doing things to their bodies, and our children are seeing these things on the internet, and they're like, this is, it portrays an ideal idea and not much of what reality is. And it impacts our children, which impacts us. So what we can do is, if you know how to use YouTube, you can go on YouTube and you can Google how to do this. It is there to help you. And you can talk to your children and say, you see it and whatever, and this is what.
And also you can, get persons to teach you how to, become more technologically savvy. So you're in tune with what is happening regarding your children. And so you can have informed conversations with them about the external influences and how they should view these influencers and influences, and how they should make informed and wise choices based on your engagement with them. I know the church can play a role in offering some training, to these parents in certain areas as it relates to technology. Some basic trainings, maybe as to how they can, put on certain apps where they can be able to supervise what their children are engaging, are control, what time the phone shut down and all of these things. They are there, but sometimes they are not aware that they are there. So the church can play a greater role in teaching our parents and how to navigate the technical space and so on. And it makes no sense we run away from it because it's here to stay. Society is becoming more modernized, and we are not isolated from the world. The Bible says that we should be in the world, but not a part of the world. And if we are going to try to, safeguard our children and protect our children from certain things, we have to know what is happening and so on, so we can guide them accordingly.
Additionally, another big challenge is managing the household budget. With the current inflation and the rising cost of living and increasing expenses for things like housing, healthcare, childcare, and education, it can feel like there is never enough money to go around. So one key strategy to help you overcome this challenge is to be aware of your current spending patterns, and so that you can identify areas where you can save. For example, you might consider cutting back on eating out or taking or takeout meals and bringing lunch to work instead of buying, or shopping around for cheaper ways of, living. In addition, it is important to be proactive about reducing your household expenses, such as negotiating on lower utility bills or switching to energy efficient appliances or looking into sales instead of buying at full price. Remember that saving money does not have to mean sacrificing quality or convenience. You can still enjoy the luxuries of life as long as you are living within your means. Managing your household budget doesn't have to be stressful or overwhelming experience. With some planning and discipline, you can achieve your financial goal and create a secure future for your life and your family.
With this idea of budgeting and so on, one of my colleagues, she always preaches. We're in a church setting. So she says, do be obedient to God as it regards to paying your tithes, and no matter how much you have, God has a way of making what you have do. Sometimes we look at some persons and they are getting some large salaries and so on, and sometimes they are not able to do what someone who is getting a less salary. Yes, and those children from those households, they prosper and do very well, once the right structure is in place and the spirituality and so on. They go to university just like the person who has the large income and so on. Why? It's also because they honor God, through the giving of their tithes, and free will offerings. So that is one of the way of managing your money. Yes, it is tried, tested, and proven that if we are obedient in this regard, God will, supply our needs according to his riches glory. He doesn't promise that any of us, because we throw the tithes and offering, we're going to be wealthy, but we won't be worse off. Yes, by no means. Yes, but they say, can a man rob God? Yes, we can. And when you rob God, I am sure there are consequences to doing such a thing. So, practicing positive parenting is also being obedient to God, so that certain blessings, can fall or trickle down to your children. And blessings sometimes, these blessings and blessings not just for one generation, but it goes to the next generation. When children see certain lifestyle practices, they also take them on, whether it is positive or negative. So it is incumbent on parents that they practice, you know, health, have healthy practices so that their children can model. Yes.
Yes. And it's not on the slide, but also teaching your children about money and teaching them the importance of money and how you can talk to your child and let them know about some persons don't want to tell their children that they don't have it and they can't do it or whatever. But talk to them, let them know how the budget is and what we have and how we have to go by. Let them understand how money goes and how it comes. That is also important as well.
In this day and age with so many things happening, you know, hustle and bustle of the modern society, many things are left undone as it regards to parenting, whether intentionally or unintentionally. But with God in the vessel, I am certain he will not leave us or alone. So if we put him in the mix of things and we do the things that we are supposed to do, despite the turmoil, despite modernization and all the social ills that we see are happening as it regards to our children and so on. Despite all of that, you know, we can stand, you know, in the midst of the storm. You know, this world is certainly not utopia and so on, but God can sustain and keep us, you know, so that we can have children who will be able to stand against the rigors, the system, so that they can become well adjusted and also a part of the kingdom of God. So it's important that we model Christian behavior, yes, provide structure, nurture, and guidance to our children. Yes?
You can be a good parent, you can do your best at parenting, and still yet your child comes up to have behavioral issues. And that is okay. You have done your best, and there are resources out there to help you whenever this happens. You can go to your child's school and ask for assistance from the guidance counselor to get some additional counseling to help your child, as well as you can get referral to the child guidance clinic, and you can also visit or call the Child Protection and Family Services Agency.
If it's a financial issue that you're having, although not much and so on, there are certain, you know, you can make your application. Some persons get through, some don't, but you can make your application to pass if you're having issues as it regards to your child's, you know, financing your child's schooling, because there are certain benefits that can be had, you know, from the PATH program, where they give entrepreneurial grants. Children get lunch at school, you know, and they get a little stipend to help to send them to school, complemented by what the parent has to offer. Yes, and then they also have grants when these children go to university, they get a grant to help with their tuition and so on. So there are other little benefits that they do have and so on. So the application can be made. You making the application is not a guarantee that you will get through. But you know, they said nothing try, nothing done. So you don't know if you will be one of those successful candidates. If you are having severe financial problem, because PATH is for the poorest of the poor. So if you think you fall in that category and you're having challenges sending your child to school, your approach, you know, PATH. And also some churches have welfare, yes, because as the Bible states, you know, in the early church, everyone they looked out for each other, and that is how it should be in the modern church. Some churches have welfare system where they offer food packages and those things, which help to supplement the family's income, you know, instead of them have to buy a grocery for a day, you know. It does help and so on. And some church members might, give some clothes and all of these things, to help the family along. So parenting in this modern society is not like, in days past where mothers were at home and fathers go out farming and so on. It's like a jungle out there, survival of the fittest, who will stand. But with, as I said, with God in the vessel, and you as a parent applying the required strategies, to grow up your child, and with the Bible as your compass and so on, you can be successful. So don't be daunted, by today's world. Success can be had in rearing your children. And I'm sure there are many persons in your church who can testify, of how they overcame this task of parenting and their children. They are proud parents today, at the outcome that they have, from their children.